The diner fell silent the second she ran in. A little girl, soaked head to toe, slid under the biker's table before anyone could speak. Tiny fingers gripped Ryder's boot. "Don't tell him I'm here." Headlights flared through the windows. A black sedan. A man in a tailored suit stepped out, the smile of someone used to buying secrets. And for the first time that night, even the bikers looked afraid. The rain outside hadn't stopped, but inside, the diner held its breath. Ryder could hear the storm in the ceiling vents, the steady hum of the neon sign cutting through the quiet. He didn't look down right away. He didn't have to. The girl's grip on his boot said enough. Small, cold, terrified. Mac, 2 stools away, froze mid-bite. Tiny, the biggest man in the crew, shifted in his seat just slightly, enough to block the view from the door. They'd seen a lot on the road. Runaways, drifters, liars. But this was different. This was fear in its purest form. The waitress glanced over, towel half folded in her hand. "Ryder," she whispered. "What's she doing?" He lifted a finger, still not looking down. Outside, a car door slammed, then another. Headlights swept across the glass, throwing shadows across the counter. The door opened, rain followed them in. 3 men in suits, polished shoes sinking into a puddle that didn't belong here. One of them smiled too easily. "Evening, folks," he said, flashing a card none of them cared to read. "We're looking for someone. A little girl, about yay tall." His hand floated at waist height. Ryder leaned back, eyes still calm, voice steady. "Don't see any kids here." The man's smile didn't fade, but his tone sharpened. "You sure? She ran off from home. Her father's worried sick." The room went still again. In the corner booth, the jukebox clicked, but no song played. Mac's fork scraped the plate, too loud. Ryder's gaze met the man's. That was enough to change the air. "She didn't run," came a small voice. Everyone heard it. The girl had crawled halfway out from under the table, trembling, wet hair clinging to her face. "She's hiding," Ryder said quietly, rising from his chair. "And now, she's under my roof." The man's smile dropped. "Do you know who you're talking to?" Ryder stepped closer. "No, but I can tell you're used to people caring about that." The suits exchanged a glance, half signal, half warning. Their leader pulled out a gold card and placed it on the counter. "Call me if she shows up. There's a reward." He let the word reward hang like a threat. Then they turned and walked out, the bell above the door chiming once, twice, then silence. When the headlights disappeared, the tension didn't. Ryder knelt beside the girl, voice low. "What's your name, kid?" She hesitated. "Lena." He nodded once. "All right, Lena, you're safe here tonight." Her cool lip quivered. "He'll come back." Ryder's jaw tightened. "Then we'll be ready." Outside, the storm hit harder. Inside, every biker in the diner sat straighter, the unspoken rule echoing louder than the thunder. No one touches what's under their roof. Steam curled off the coffee cup, but Lena just stared at it. Her hands still shook, the mug trembling between her fingers. Ryder sat opposite her, jacket draped over the chair, rain still dripping from his hair. Mac leaned on the counter. "She even old enough for caffeine?" Ryder gave him a look. Mac stopped talking. The waitress set down a plate of pancakes. Extra syrup, no questions. Lena blinked at the food like it was something foreign. "Eat," Ryder said, voice quiet, steady. "You'll feel human again." She nodded, but her fork never moved. Finally, she whispered, "He killed her." The words fell so light the hum of the fridge nearly buried them. Ryder straightened. "Who?" "My mom." Her voice cracked. "He said it was an accident. Everyone did." The bikers exchanged glances. Tiny muttered, "What kind of accident?" Lena's eyes lifted, glassy and far away. "Car crash, late, storm. But the brakes—" She stopped herself, shaking her head. She knew he was bad. She told me, if something happens, don't trust anyone in a suit. Ryder exhaled slow, eyes narrowing. And that's when you ran. Lena reached for her backpack, small and soaked, edges fraying. She pulled out a single photograph. Her mother, smiling, arms around a younger Lena. Taped to the back was a small silver USB with a pink ribbon looped through it. She called it her insurance, Lena said. Said it was for me to keep safe. Ryder turned the drive in his hand. The pink ribbon shimmered under the neon. What's on it? I don't know. She said if I ever showed it to the wrong people, they'd make sure I disappeared too. Mac crossed his arms. So the stepdad's not just rich, he's dangerous. Ryder nodded once. Marcus Vaughn. I've heard the name. Tiny frowned. He's got deals with half the city council, right? More than half, Ryder said, and the other half pretends not to see it. Lena looked between them. You believe me? Ryder met her eyes. You didn't crawl under my table for fun. Outside, lightning cut across the lot. Ryder pocketed the drive. We'll check what's inside, but first, you rest. Lena's shoulders sagged, exhaustion finally catching up. Mac slid his leather jacket over her shoulders. It's not pink, but it's warm. For the first time all night, a small smile tugged at her face. The jukebox crackled to life again, old blues humming soft under the storm. Ryder watched the window reflection. 3 headlights in the distance, moving slow, circling the lot. He didn't tell her. Not yet. Instead, he whispered, You did the right thing coming here, kid. Lena's eyes drifted closed. Mac glanced at him. She's bait, isn't she? Ryder's jaw tightened. No, he said low. She's proof. The lights in the diner buzzed once, then steadied. Ryder watched the headlights outside drift away, but his gut said the night wasn't done. He slid the thumb drive across the counter. Mac, you still got that old laptop in the truck? Mac nodded. Battery's fried, but she'll boot. A few keystrokes later, the screen glowed. Folders, codes, documents that didn't belong on a waitress's table. Mac whistled low. Looks like Vaughn's been busy. Numbers scrolled fast. Offshore accounts, construction deals, fake charities, names that carried weight in the city. Ryder didn't blink. That's not just money. That's control. Tiny leaned over, knuckles on the counter. And the kind of men who'd burn the world to keep it. He looked at Lena. What's he want with you, kid? She hesitated. He said I had something that wasn't mine, but Mom said it was the only thing that could stop him. The room fell quiet again. The jukebox hum filled the silence. Ryder's jaw worked. All right, we got 2 roads here. Mac raised a brow. Yeah? 1, pretend we didn't see this. Drop her at a station, walk away. And 2, Ryder's eyes met his. We make it our fight. Tiny snorted. That ain't much of a choice. Ryder gave a half smile. Didn't think so. Lena's voice cracked through the tension. If you help me, he'll come after you. Mac chuckled. Sweetheart, he already did. She looked up, small face caught between fear and disbelief. Why? Ryder leaned closer. 'Cause we've all been someone's secret once. Outside, thunder rolled over the desert road. Ryder pushed away from the counter. Pack it up. We move. Where to? Tiny asked. Clubhouse. We'll lock this down, crack what's on that drive. And the suits? Ryder grabbed his jacket. If they follow, they'll wish they hadn't. The waitress appeared again, wiping her hands nervously. Ryder, you sure you want to do this? Vaughn's people, they don't play fair. He stopped at the door, rain dripping off his collar. Neither do we. They stepped out into the storm, engines roaring alive, lights cutting through the downpour. Lena climbed onto Ryder's bike, her small hands gripping the leather tight. The road ahead stretched black and endless. Ryder gunned the throttle, voice low under the roar. Tonight we ride quiet. Tomorrow. He glanced at the drive in Mac's hand. We start a war he won't see coming. Behind them, the diner sign flickered twice before going dark. In the silence that followed, it was clear. The Steelhawks had chosen their side. The clubhouse smelled of gasoline and rain. Engines ticked as they cooled, dripping onto concrete. Ryder locked the door behind them and tossed the thumb drive to Mac. Get it backed up, twice. Mac booted the old laptop. Screens flickered to life, the room filled with the hum of servers and the occasional crackle of thunder. Tiny poured whiskey into mismatched mugs. So, what's the play, boss? Ryder paced. We can't outrun a man who owns half the roads. We hit him where it hurts. He pointed to the map pinned against the wall, a spiderweb of pins and notes. 3 fronts, 1 shot. Front 1, paper. Mac zoomed in on the documents they'd copied. Vaughn Tech has shell companies bleeding city funds. If we feed this to the press raw, they'll bury it in legal mud. Ryder nodded. Then we feed it smarter. He circled a name, Adler and Klein Media. They hate him already. We leak the trail, not the treasure. Front 2, street. Tiny cracked his knuckles. You want muscle? Ryder's voice dropped. I want witnesses. Every contractor he stiffed, every guard he fired. We find them. Get statements, get faces. Make noise he can't buy quiet. Tiny grinned. Noise I can do. Front 3, heart. He looked at Lena, curled on the couch with a blanket too big for her. She's the key, not just the drive. Her story kills his image. Mac frowned. She's a kid, not a headline. Ryder met his eyes. That's why it works. The thunder outside rolled closer, rattling the windows. Mac's laptop pinged, a hidden folder decrypted. Inside, videos, invoices, scanned letters, proof of bribes, payoffs, signatures, and one file labeled H. Vaughn, personal. Ryder opened it. A recording crackled through the speakers. Marcus Vaughn's voice, calm and cold. If she talks, she's done. Accidents happen every day. Lena stirred at the sound, eyes wide. That's him, she whispered. That's the night before the crash. Ryder slammed the lid shut. Mac, copy everything to a drive that never touches Wi-Fi. He turned to the others. Tomorrow we move. We take this to 3 corners. Press, street, and the courthouse. He can't plug all holes at once. Tiny exhaled a slow laugh. So, we're really doing this. Ryder slipped his gloves back on. We started when she walked into that diner. Rain lashed harder. Somewhere outside, an engine started. Not theirs. Mac looked up. You expecting company? Ryder shook his head. Too early for ghosts, he muttered, drawing the blinds. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to make history or headlines. Lena's small voice broke the quiet. What if he finds us? Ryder looked at her over his shoulder. Then we remind him, he said, flipping the switch that killed every light in the room. He's not the only one who knows how to hunt. Dawn never really came, just a gray wash bleeding through the storm. Ryder stood by the window of the clubhouse, coffee in one hand, the other resting on his gun belt. The Steelhawks were already moving. Mac and Tiny packed drives, maps, burner phones. Mercy, their pit mix paced near Lena's chair, protective, restless. Every creak of the floor made her flinch. Ryder said nothing. He didn't have to. The air smelled of gasoline and decision. Front 1's in motion, Mac said, sliding a phone across the table. A reporter's voice crackled through a voicemail. We got the files. Cross-checking sources. Stay hidden. Good, Ryder said. They'll hit him where it hurts first. His name. Tiny checked the window again. Then why's my gut say he'll hit back harder? Ryder looked out across the lot. 'Cause men like Vaughn don't defend. They erase. Outside, the rain finally broke. For a heartbeat, everything felt still. Too still? Then the explosion hit. The shockwave knocked coffee cups from the counter. The garage lit up like daylight as flames ripped through the side door. Mac dove for Lena, shielding her from the blast of heat and shrapnel. Tiny yanked a fire blanket off the wall, smothering the sparks crawling up the curtains. "Everybody out!" Ryder barked. Engines roared alive before the smoke even cleared. The fire spread fast, devouring oil cans, papers, blueprints. Ryder grabbed the bag with the copied drives and kicked open the rear exit. Lena coughed, eyes watering. "He found us!" Ryder pulled her close. "No, he warned us." They tore through the back road, rain, mud, smoke blending into one long blur. Mac's bike skidded but recovered. Tiny's headlights vanished, then reappeared over the ridge. Behind them, the clubhouse collapsed in a pillar of orange. They didn't stop until the highway swallowed the storm. They pulled under an overpass, engines idling low. Mac spat rainwater, voice rough. "We lost everything but the drives." Ryder nodded. "That's all we needed." Tiny leaned against his bike. "You think he'll believe we're dead?" Ryder smirked. "He better hope we are." Lena sat wrapped in a jacket, staring into the rain. Her voice was small but steady. "He burned my house, now yours." Ryder crouched beside her. "Then it's his turn to watch something fall." Mac wiped soot from his hands. "Press already running it. Vaughn text trending with words you can't buy your way out of." Ryder stood, eyes narrowing. "Good. Then we push the next wave. Street's turn." Tiny frowned. "You sure we ain't pushing too fast?" Ryder shook his head. "He's rattled. That's when men like him make mistakes. And when they do," he tapped the drive in his pocket, "we make sure the world sees it." Thunder cracked overhead again, echoing down the highway. They mounted their bikes, engines growling like thunder's answer. As they rode into the rain, the fire behind them finally gave out, smoke twisting into the sky like a signature. And somewhere miles away, in a penthouse wrapped in glass and gold, Marcus Vaughn watched the flames on a muted screen and whispered, "Find them." The city glittered like a circuit board, every window alive, every secret wired. In the penthouse, Marcus Vaughn's hands trembled just enough to crack his crystal glass. Below him, a skyline he'd once owned now pulsed with headlines. "Vaughn Tech Corruption Probe Deepens." He turned to his fixer. "Find them before sunrise." The fixer nodded. "The bikers, the girl, their ghosts." "Then start hunting graves," Vaughn hissed. Across the desert, the Steelhawks huddled in an abandoned radio station, light leaking through bullet holes in the roof. Mac's laptop glowed in the dark, powered by a generator coughing smoke. Ryder traced the map with a knife tip. 1 hour until the gala stream. The press packet hits at midnight. Once it's live, he can't bury it. Tiny tightened the bolts on his rifle. "Gala's crawling with his people. You sure he'll even show?" "He'll show," Ryder said. "Men like him don't hide when cameras are on. They perform." Lena sat cross-legged near the static-spitting radio, the pink ribbon from the drive tied around her wrist. Her voice was a whisper. "What if they find us first?" Ryder's glance softened. "Then we send the signal early." Mac adjusted the antenna. "Live feed's rigged to Vaughn Tech's own cloud. Once it uploads, every screen in that ballroom goes black." Tiny grinned. "And we give 'em a new show." Back in the city, the gala dripped with champagne and PR lies. Vaughn stood center stage, haloed in spotlights, the picture of untouchable grace. "Tonight," he said smoothly, "we celebrate innovation, proof that honesty still drives success." Applause thundered, hollow and rehearsed. In the control booth, the tech crew blinked as every monitor flickered, then went dark. "Sir, we're losing the feed." Vaughn's smile froze. On the 30-foot screen behind him, his own voice filled the silence. "If she talks, she's done. Accidents happen every day." The ballroom gasped. Back at the station, Mac slammed his fist on the table. "It's up," Tiny whooped. Lena pressed both hands to her mouth, eyes wide. Ryder watched the feed through a cracked monitor, Vaughn's face turning from charm to fear. "Cut to the files," Mac said. The slideshow rolled. Documents, bank wires, photos of checks signed in his name. The audience in the ballroom turned into a storm. Phones came out. Reporters screamed questions. In the penthouse, guards burst in. "Sir, it's everywhere. Press, TV, feeds." Vaughn hurled the glass against the wall. "Shut it down." But the screens kept looping his confession. He tore off his mic, but the damage was done. Below, police sirens bled into the music. Back in the desert, Ryder exhaled slow. "That's it. It's over." Lena didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the last image streaming back through the static. Vaughn, alone on stage, surrounded by flashbulbs, looking smaller than she'd ever seen him. She whispered, "Mom would have liked that." Ryder smiled, faint and tired. "Your mom just took down a kingdom, kid." Outside, dawn finally broke. No thunder, no fire, just quiet. But for the first time, quiet felt like victory. The desert was quiet again. No sirens, no engines, just the wind dragging through the dust. The safe house sat hollow now, stripped to concrete and memory. Lena stood beside a rusted bike, helmet dangling from her fingers. The pink ribbon still tied around her wrist fluttered in the breeze. Mac rolled up the newspaper and tossed it on the table. Front page, Marcus Vaughn, arrested. Evidence seized. Tiny whistled. "Never thought I'd see that name under a mugshot." Ryder didn't answer. He just stared out toward the highway where the sky burned orange and gold. Lena walked over. "Is it really over?" Ryder took a slow breath. "For him, yeah. For you, it's just starting." She smiled faintly. "Mom used to say the world only changes when people stop being scared." Ryder smirked. "Guess she was right." Mac shut the laptop for good. "What happens now?" Ryder turned. "We clean up, rebuild. Steelhawks will keep running loads, but there's something else coming." Tiny frowned. "Something else?" Ryder nodded toward Lena. "She's starting a foundation, Chrome Wings, for kids who need out, same way she did." Lena looked up, startled. "I never said—" "You didn't have to," Ryder said. "You already built it." He handed her a small box, black leather scuffed at the edges. Inside, the drive, wrapped again with the same pink ribbon. "This belonged to your mom," he said. "Now it belongs to what she stood for." Her eyes shimmered. "I don't even know how to thank you." Ryder chuckled softly. "You don't. You just ride forward." Months later, the highway gleamed under the sun, stretching endless between mountains. Chrome Wings decals flashed on jackets, helmets, and gas tanks. A small club turned movement. Kids in battered leathers rode beside men twice their size, laughter mixing with the sound of freedom. Lena's bike, a rebuilt 350, roared ahead. Painted silver and white, it caught the light like it was born from fire. Mac rode behind her, camera strapped to his chest, recording the ride for the news special. The world finally wanted to listen. At the overlook above the valley, they parked in a line. The wind carried the faint echo of Helen Vaughn's favorite song from a speaker strapped to Mercy's sidecar. Ryder placed a single chrome feather at the edge of the cliff. "For Helen," he said quietly. Lena knelt beside him, eyes closed. "She can rest now." Mac raised a toast with an old flask. "To the ones who fought dirty, but fought right," Tiny laughed. "And to the kid who taught us what clean looks like." The engines rumbled alive again. As the convoy rolled down the slope, sunlight exploded off their bikes, hundreds of reflections painting the desert in silver. Lena's voice came through Ryder's earpiece, soft but certain. "Hey, Ryder." "Yeah?" "What happens when the road ends?" He smiled under the helmet. "It doesn't, it just changes direction." They disappeared into the horizon. the sound of chrome wings carrying a promise the world hadn't heard in a long time. Freedom that couldn't be bought.